promise that we made. And your kingdom will be here on earth. Today, Lord, make this prayer acceptable and pleasing to you. Please, Lord, keep your hand on all of those folks who can't be with us today. Please keep your hand on all those who are struggling with the decision. Lord, may we be that vision of love, unconditional love and peace and hope in a hurting world. We ask all this in the name of Jesus, who taught us to say whenever we pray, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. And we'll go ahead and just give thanks for the tithes and the offerings as well. Father, in this new way of worshiping that we are, it feels like stumbling around when we don't follow our menu, when we don't go from step to step. But Lord, it all brings glory to you. And as we know that we share the gifts you've given to us, we give back to you the token that you've put in our hearts to give. And Lord, we ask that willingness will turn this world around just by knowing that we're giving something that we know you're going to use for someone else. To God be the glory. Amen. Okay, folks, we're still in Matthew this week, and I think we're gonna rock along with Matthew for the next couple of weeks. There's a couple of parables coming up that I think are relevant and important for this time of year and what we're going through. So before that happens, actually that starts next week. We're still in Matthew, and as Matthew continues along now, you remember beginning of Matthew 5, we begin the Sermon on the Mount. And then once that's out there for everybody to kind of chew on, try to figure out how you're going to be happy when you're poor. The way that he delivered it is almost a contrast to human thinking. But we have to be heavenly minded when we listen to Jesus teach. And so Jesus keeps on and he starts talking about the Christian life and what it takes to do all of that. And so as we go along, he's teaching his disciples. I didn't forget the Apostles' Creed. I'm going to do it during the communion.
I figured that.
No, I just kind of want to put it out there.
While you're stopped, can you slide your mic up just a little bit? It's rubbing against the cord of your stuff and it's scratching.
Choreographers, what are you going to do with them? Thank you, dear. And so he's still teaching them every little thing that goes along with being his disciple. It's not enough that they see how he's treated. Remember last week, if they're going to treat me like this, you think they're going to treat you any better? They're going to treat you worse. And so Jesus is giving these lessons on, what's down the road for them as they follow this path, as they follow the way. And so Jesus kind of draws it to a close and says, to what will I compare this generation? It's like a child sitting in the marketplaces calling out to others. We played the flute for you and you didn't dance. We sang a funeral song and you didn't mourn. For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he has a demon. Yet the human one came eating and drinking, and they say, look, a glutton and a drunk, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. But wisdom is proved to be right by her works. Wisdom is proved to be right by her works. Come to me, all you who are struggling hard, carrying heavy loads, and I'll give you rest. Put on my yoke and learn from me. I'm gentle and humble, and you will find rest for yourselves. My yoke is easy to bear, and my burden is light. The word of God for us, the people of God. And
Thanks be to God.
Father, thank you for this timely word. The assurance that you give us, the refreshment of your promise to us. And may the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be pleasing and acceptable to you, my strength and my Redeemer. Amen. This may not be the only time you've heard me say this. The only perfect person to ever walk the face of this earth was Jesus. And look what we did and are still doing to him. The only perfect person to ever walk the face of this earth was Jesus. Matthew records Jesus is continuing to teach the disciples about the many obstacles that will confront them as they minister in the human world. If you want to be a proclaimer of the word of Jesus Christ, and you don't want your feelings hurt, you need to do something else. On the one side, you have to go into this ministry of yours, no matter whether it's a called ministry or whether it's just a ministry that you took a vow to when you took your baptismal vows. You go into this ministry while you're excited about that opportunity to tell people what Jesus has done for you. And tell what you've seen and what you heard. Isn't that what Jesus told John's disciples? When John the baptizer was in jail and he sends that question, are you the one that we're looking for, or should we wait for another? He told them to go back and tell them what you see. Go back and tell them what you hear. That's the only answer he gave them. If they see you acting like a child of God, on Monday, especially Monday, as any other day of the week or on Sunday morning that they see you, if they see you acting like a child of God, if they hear the compassion and the love that Jesus has for us coming out of your mouth for them, the lowliest sinners of the world, right? Then they'll know who you are. They'll know who you follow. They'll know that Jesus loves you and loves them too. But there'll be lots of obstacles. Lots of things to trip over. You can be walking down the street whistling away and somebody's going to throw a log down in front of you just so you'll trip over it to see how you will react. Sounds mean. It is mean. There's a lot of mean Christians in this world. Trust me. And some of them mean it. They do it on purpose to see how you're going to react. You've been in this beautiful little town of Rose Hill and coming to this church and with the same people for so long and all of that. And I would imagine at one point in the history of this church, you did get new people coming in on a regular basis that might be from someplace else, and you're kind of going, huh? Wait, I don't understand this person. But you haven't had that happen in a really long time. And the world is out there, and it ain't nice. But at the same time, you're so excited, you want to do God's work. Nothing's going to bother you, or nothing's going to slow you down. Or you've got God behind you, and your feelings aren't going to get hurt. And you're going to keep going, and the next thing you know, Bang! Somebody says something to you that you think any Christian would say to another. You know, Jesus made this statement. He said, some people refuse to be satisfied. No matter how much you love on them, no matter how much you forgive them, no matter how much you guide them, or you take the high road, some people refuse to be satisfied. This is the phrase that Jesus uses when he asks what he's to say of this generation. There's people who refuse to be satisfied. They refuse to be happy. You know the saying, misery loves company. Jesus likens this generation to children who are always finding reasons not to play together. We played the flute for you, but you didn't dance. You would not dance. Another one has on the other side of the group said, well, you know what? We sang a funeral song for you, and you refused to mourn. In our language today, it's like one group of children saying to the other, come on, let's play ball. We don't have enough with just one side. If y'all come on, and then we'll have enough, and we'll have a good old time. We brought everything we need. We have the ball. We have the bat. We have the bases. We have everything we need. With you coming and playing with us, we can play a real game of ball. But the others refuse. What more could you want? I can remember when I was a child and we were growing up, we lived in these, I guess they call them condominiums now, but we would call townhomes. It was a block of homes all joined. Anyway, and they butted right up to the street. But in the back was this beautiful greenway, if you will. It had all the toys and everything. So it was kind of comforting for some of the parents because they knew from those houses on either side, they knew all the neighbors. And we'd all get in the middle and play. And so I can remember this. And going out and playing ball or whatever we were going to play, trying to get the kids to, come on, get off your bike. Come on, let's play ball together. You can ride a bike by yourself. Come on, let's play ball together. All right, we'll even let you pick first. Or the last and ultimate sacrifice. All right, we'll let you bat first. Anything to get you to come and play. You ever had that situation? You ever think about that? Look back in your life. You ever have a thing that where you're really having to convince somebody to come on? Isn't that what we do every day when we're going out and making disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world? Come on, I'll come pick you up. I'll take you out to lunch after. I'll make sure that I sit with you. I'll tell the preacher ahead of time not to call you out. Yeah? Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. I wonder why they wouldn't play. I wonder why the children, for some reason or another, just don't want to play. Could be they're tired. We are talking children. Could it be they're not feeling well? Well, they might be out there if they don't feel well, if mama don't know it, but if they're not feeling well, and mama can tell, they ain't going nowhere. So that's usually not the reason. But something's got to be the reason why they won't come and play. Are they afraid of losing? Are they afraid of being rejected? Are they afraid of being chosen last on a team? May I just witness something to you? I was picked last a lot of times. But you know what? I knew it was going to be picked. It didn't matter when, it didn't matter which side, because when you got even people and someone else starts to pick and you're the last one left, you kind of know where you're going. So I knew I was going to play, one way or the other. But what can be the reason? A lot of times God's children have become tired and burnt out, overwhelmed by all the needs that need to be done and so few who are willing to help. There are those 20% doing the 80% of the work. Hard as they may try. Sometimes being positive is really difficult. Sometimes it's hard not to catch that martyr tone in your voice. All the while, the 80% are finding fault with what the 20% are doing. Everybody has a talent, don't they? God has a place for every child in the choir. However, the real indication of a dead church is people who just don't want to do anything. Leave it alone. We've gone on like this for a long time. We'll go on a long time longer. Yeah, as long as the youngest person lives, you will. As long as the youngest person lives, you will. Dictionaries, many dictionaries that you might research will define that as apathy. I care, but I just don't really care enough to do anything about it. It'll be all right. God will take care of it. Well, He sent you there to take care of it. You remember the joke about the man on the house and the flood and the boat and the helicopter and everything came? He said, no, my God will provide. And then he dies and says, why didn't you take care of me? Why didn't you save me? I sent you a boat, helicopter, what else do you want? Apathy is the tombstone for every dream. Apathy is the tombstone for every dream. We might claim to care, but do we really care enough? Apathy plays a huge part in the history of humanity, certainly in the history of Christianity. You know, I was in Wilmington on Friday, and I was running around and getting some things done, and I made a wrong turn somewhere, and I was running up and down streets looking for where I'm supposed to go. At the same time, I'm trying to get Google Map tell me where to get home. I couldn't get that thing to zone in I don't know what was going on with it. But it wasn't working like it normally worked. Maybe it's an upgrade. But I couldn't get it. So I kept driving around and thinking, well, maybe this kind of feels like it, and that, you know. But in through all of that, I don't know if I was on Market or if I was on Gordon or I don't know where I was, but anyway, one of those long stretches. And I was riding along and I was coming up on a stoplight. And I slowed down and I stopped for the light. I just happened to glance over my right-hand side. And there was this huge brick church. It took up the entire block. As I passed, you could see the playgrounds in the back. You could see the ball fields. You could see the extra buildings behind it. It was huge. It was ornate. It was beautiful. And it was dead. There was all kinds of weeds growing up everywhere. The grass was high enough to tickle your nose. All I could do is, I got this sense of just sadness all around it. You know? You can look at churches, nobody's there, but you can look at churches that are well kept. You can look at the doors are nice and clean and painted. You can look at how well the whole place looks, the lawn and everything, and you can actually feel joy. Because it's obvious somebody loves that place. And they keep it together and keep it going. They love the children because all the new equipment. Because of I've been in this for doing this so long, I can look back there and I can see all of the Safe Sanctuary stuff. Check, they did this. Yep, check, they did that. You know that's a lot of extra work. We have to do that. We're going to have to do that in this new building. We're going to have to do a lot of things in this new building. Not sure where it's all. I know God's got a plan for them. Not sure where the money's coming from. Not sure who all is going to do it and everything. But I know the money's, I know God's got a plan for it. I can tell you what. You can brag about this if you want to. When this church dies, as it will, it'll make pretty property to sell. Mark my word. If something doesn't change now, this property will look really nice for the people to come around, the real estate brokers, to try to sell it. I promise you. I can just imagine the tombstone reading, "Here lies apathy." Right where she's always been, doing what she's always done. I'm talking to 7 people who do a lot in this church. I'm preaching to the choir. But you know the folks who aren't in the choir and who aren't here and who aren't listening. And you know them so much better than me. Maybe you need to pound them a little bit. What are you afraid of? Jesus has called you to do. Why won't you play? Are you just too tired? Are you apathetic? Do you you love your church. You love everybody in your church, but is it worth your time and your energy level? That's questions for you and for the people that you know and go to. Every one of you. Long before the great Babylonian exile, chosen people of God had to be shocked into action if the church were to survive. Stubborn generations of people finding it much easier to do nothing. But now that the walls have been tumbled around the great holy city of David, around the temple where God promised his existence would be on earth forever. When that time came, they had to work really, really hard to get it right again. My daddy used to say, "Son, if you ain't got time to do it right the first time, how do you got time to go back and do it again?" Obstinate children. And I'm talking about those like Nehemiah's people. He sparked an awakening in the hearts of those former Jerusalem residents. Amid the threat of those who would rather complain and be obstacles to grace, the Israelites literally stood side by side, building a part of the wall around Jerusalem with their tool in one hand and while holding a sword in the other. Obstinate children they were. Obstinate, unswerving, unyielding, and determined in their minds to build